Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in your life when survival depends not on what's happening around you, but on what's happening within you. You can't keep praying for peace while feeding your storm. You can't keep asking for breakthroughs while your mouth, your mood, your money, your mind are out of control. Let's be real. Your mouth is a weapon. What you speak, you birth. Every time you speak fear, you're planting seeds of anxiety. Every time you complain, you're reinforcing chains. But when you speak faith in a dry place, when you declare healing over brokenness, when you praise instead of panic, you shift the atmosphere. The power of life and death is in your tongue. So don't use your words to describe your situation. Use them to change it. Then there's your mood. Oh, don't let your feelings fool you. Your emotions are indicators, not dictators. Yes, you're allowed to feel, but you are not allowed to be led by what you feel. Anger is real. Sadness is real. But you can't build a life based on temporary storms. If your mood rules your decisions, your destiny will drown in impulse. Learn to feel your way through. Act from wisdom, not emotion. Now let's talk about your money. It's not just about what you earn. It's about what you manage. You cannot keep asking for abundance while operating in disorder. You don't need more income. You need more discipline. You don't need a financial miracle. You need financial maturity. If God can't trust you with little, how can He trust you with more? Stewardship is the key to overflow. And your mind. Your battlefield. The war isn't out there. It's in here. If your thoughts are toxic, your life will be too. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your mind. You can't think defeat and expect victory. You can't meditate on rejection and expect to walk in purpose. Get your mind right, because where your mind goes, your life follows. Your mouth, because words build worlds. Your mood, because stability is strength. Your money, because order invites increase. Your mind, because freedom starts in your thoughts. You are too powerful to keep living like you're powerless. It's time to rise. Speak wisely, feel deeply, act wisely. Spend intentionally, think victoriously. When you master these four, the world can't stop what's coming to you. There is power resting just inches below your nose, a force so potent that it can either build up or tear down, heal or destroy, create or curse. It's not your hands, not your feet, not even your intellect. It's your mouth, your tongue, that small member of your body that has the ability to spark fire, shift atmospheres, stir destinies, and sabotage futures. The tragedy is, most people don't recognize how dangerous it is to live life carelessly with their words. They speak as if their mouth is not connected to their purpose. They speak as if what comes out of them has no consequence. But let me tell you, your mouth is prophetic. Your mouth is creative. Your mouth is spiritual. And until you learn to control it, you will keep speaking curses over your own life without even realizing it. You see, the mouth is not just a tool for communication. It is an instrument of spiritual legislation. What you decree can determine what you experience. Words are not just sounds, they are containers. They carry energy, they carry authority. They either carry faith or they carry fear. They either release life or they open the door to death. Some people are trapped in situations not because the devil is after them, because their mouths have locked them into cycles. You've been saying you're always broke, and guess what? You are. You've been saying relationships never work out for you, and guess what? They don't. You've been speaking defeat, discouragement, and doubt, and your life is only mirroring what your mouth is manufacturing. The enemy doesn't have to defeat you if he can convince you to defeat yourself. How does that happen? Through the words you repeat, through the lies you reinforce, through the negativity you've normalized. Never get out of this. Nothing ever works for me. I can't catch a break. I always mess things up. I'm not good enough. These aren't just statements, chains. Every word becomes a link. Every phrase becomes a prison bar. And you wonder why you can't walk into your future. It's because your tongue has tied you to your past. If you're going to grow, challenge you to love enough and care enough. If you're going to elevate, if you're going to walk in divine purpose and fulfill your calling, the first thing you need to take under submission is not your finances, not your schedule, not even your relationships. It's your mouth, created in the image of a creator who spoke the world into existence. He didn't build it with his hands. He spoke and it was. Same creative power lies in you. When you speak, you are not just expressing yourself. You are shaping your world. That's why you can't afford to be careless with your words. You can't afford to cuss your children and expect them to grow confident. You can't afford to degrade yourself and expect to walk in boldness. You can't afford to gossip, slander, and complain and then wonder why you feel spiritually stuck. Even silence, when used wisely, can be powerful. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to speak on every issue. You don't have to clap back when they misunderstand you. Sometimes control means keeping quiet when your flesh is screaming to be loud. There is wisdom in silence, and there is protection in restraint. When you learn to control your mouth, you begin to control your atmosphere. You begin to carry peace instead of conflict. You become a thermostat instead of a thermometer. You set the tone instead of being controlled by it. Your words bring healing into rooms filled with hurt. Your words carry power that lifts people from pits. Your mouth becomes a vessel of divine purpose, not a tool for petty destruction. Hear me. This doesn't mean you just say what sounds good. No, you speak what is true, what is faithful, what is hope-filled, what is healing. You don't have to fake positivity. You just need to refuse to partner with destruction. Speaking life doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means choosing not to let pain write the final sentence. When you are hurt, you don't have to bleed on others. When you're angry, you don't have to lash out. When you're unsure, you don't have to speak fear. You can learn the discipline of measured words, the maturity of thoughtful pauses, the wisdom of asking yourself, will these words build or destroy? You must become the guardian of your own mouth, the protector of your own peace. And sometimes that means shutting down gossip, ending self-deprecation, refusing to repeat negative patterns that were spoken over you by parents, teachers, or ex-lovers who didn't know your worth. Just because they said it doesn't mean you have to live by it. You can rewrite the story, but it starts by changing your speech. Speak to your future like it already hears you. Declare who you are becoming, not just who you've been. Let your tongue preach sermons to your soul. Let your mouth minister hope to your own ears, because when your language changes, your mind will follow. And when your mind changes, your life transforms.
Control your mouth, not just to avoid trouble, but to invite destiny. Don't let temporary frustration birth permanent damage. Don't let one heated moment speak death over a promise that's still alive. Control your mouth and you'll control your momentum. If you want to live a stable life, you've got to learn to manage an unstable part of you, your mood. Let's be honest. Your emotions don't ask for permission. They don't schedule appointments. They show up uninvited, unannounced, and often in the middle of your most important moments. And if you don't learn how to master your mood will master you. We live in a world that celebrates emotional expression, but often ignores emotional discipline. We're told to feel everything, to express ourselves, to just be real. And while authenticity has its place, chaos does not. Real doesn't mean reckless. Honest doesn't mean harmful. If you're always driven by your emotions, you'll live a life filled with unnecessary regret. You cannot build anything lasting if your mood keeps tearing it down. A job, a relationship, a dream, a ministry, none of them can survive long term if you keep allowing your emotions to lead the way. Because moods shift. Feelings are temporary. What you feel right now may be the opposite of what you feel tomorrow. You can't build permanent decisions on temporary emotions. Think about how many times you've spoken too soon, walked away too quickly, shut down an opportunity too early, all because of a mood. You weren't even truly mad, you were tired, you weren't done, you were disappointed. You didn't hate them, you were hurting, but because you didn't pause, because you didn't breathe, because you didn't pray, you let a moment of emotion cause long-term disruption. You must learn how to pause before you respond. A mood can ruin what a miracle was meant to deliver. The enemy knows that if he can't destroy your purpose, he'll distract it. And one of the most effective tools of distraction is a reactive, undisciplined emotional state. Understand this, your mood is not your identity. Just because you feel angry doesn't mean you are an angry person. Just because you feel depressed doesn't mean you're defeated. Just because you feel bitter doesn't mean you are broken beyond repair. Emotions are indicators, not dictators. They show up to alert you, but they shouldn't control you. When you don't manage your mood, your life starts operating in extremes. One moment you're hopeful, the next you're hopeless. One day you're inspired, the next you're ready to quit. That instability doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you need to grow stronger in your ability to self-regulate. Emotional maturity is not about denying how you feel, it's about not letting how you feel drive the car. Your mood can ruin relationships. It can block blessings. It can sabotage jobs and silence opportunities. How many times have doors been closed not because of your skill, but because of your attitude? You were qualified, you were talented, but your inability to manage your emotions in pressure-filled moments cost you a seat at the table. That's why managing your mood is not a suggestion, it's a requirement for growth. You can't pray for peace and then entertain every petty conversation. You can't ask God for promotion and then throw emotional fits when things don't go your way. You want elevation, start by stabilizing your spirit. Mood swings won't get you to your destiny. There is power in stillness. There is wisdom in waiting. When you feel the fire of anger rising, pause. When sadness begins to wash over you, breathe. When anxiety knocks on the door, don't invite it to dinner. Learn to sit with your emotions without letting them speak for you. You may not be able to stop a mood from arriving, but you can stop it from deciding. This is the difference between people who live ruled by emotion and those who walk in maturity. Maturity doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel without folding. It means you walk through fire, but don't let the fire consume your character. And let me tell you something, your mood will lie to you. It will exaggerate what's wrong and minimize what's right. It will convince you that nobody understands, that nothing will ever change, that it's not worth trying again. But that's not the truth. That's emotion speaking without context. The truth is, you're stronger than you feel, you're more resilient than you think, you're more anointed than you realize. Start practicing the art of inner regulation. When a bad mood creeps in, don't deny it, but don't entertain it either. Acknowledge it, examine it, and release it. Get to the root. Ask yourself, what triggered this? Why am I reacting this way? What do I really need in this moment? Most of the time, it's not the mood itself. It's the wound underneath. Some of us are moody not because we're emotional, but because we're unhealed, and if you don't deal with the wound, the mood will keep showing up. Healing is not optional. If you want a stable emotional life, you need a healed heart. And for that, you have to stay connected to the source of peace. Spend time in quiet. Read truth, meditate, pray, journal. Get still enough to hear what God is saying above the noise of your feelings. The more you invest in peace, the less power your moods will have. Emotional mastery starts in spiritual intimacy. When you manage your mood, you create room for clarity. You respond instead of reacting. You speak life instead of spreading pain. You listen with empathy instead of defensiveness. You move with purpose, not impulse, because at the end of the day, your mood should be a passenger, not the pilot. Emotions should sit beside you, not steer you. And once you learn that once you take back control from your feelings, you become unstoppable. So stay calm when chaos rises. Stay focused when distractions swirl. Stay gentle when provoked. Stay grounded when emotions flare. You are not your mood. You are more than what you feel. You are chosen. You are strong. You are being shaped into someone who doesn't just feel deeply, but lives wisely. Let's be real. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a discipline problem. It's not about how much you bring in. It's about how you manage what you already have. You can earn 6 figures and still live paycheck to paycheck if your habits are out of order. You can get a financial miracle today and be broke again tomorrow if you don't change the system that got you there. Money is spiritual. How you handle it reflects how you see yourself, how you see God, and how you see the future. If you treat it casually, it will treat you carelessly. If you ignore it, it will ignore your plans. If you idolize it, it will own you. But when you put money in its proper place, not as your master, not as your identity, but as a tool, then you begin to move with clarity and purpose. How can God trust you with overflow when you're still mismanaging the little you have? Why should he give you increase when you won't respect what's already in your hand? That's like asking for more land when you haven't even cultivated the soil in your own backyard. I don't need to impress people who won't pay my bills. I can say no to the outfit, the dinner, the gadget, because I've got vision. I can hold back today because I'm building for tomorrow. I can tithe, give, invest, save, and still live well, because I operate from wisdom, not impulse. Most people don't want discipline because it feels restrictive. But let me flip that. Discipline isn't restriction. It's protection. It protects your goals. It guards your future. It shields your peace. When you've got discipline over your money, you walk with a certain confidence. You don't have to check your balance 5 times before swiping. You don't dread bill day. You don't panic at every emergency. Why? Because you're positioned, you're organized, you've got control, and hear this, more money won't solve mismanagement. If you're disorganized with $100, you'll be disorganized with $10,000. A raise doesn't cure recklessness. Discipline does, because it's not about what's in your bank account. It's about what's in your mindset. Let's talk straight. Some of us grew up never being taught about money. We weren't taught about savings, investments, budgets, or credit. We watched survival, not strategy, so now, as adults, we equate spending with success. We think buying more makes us worth more. We think debt is normal, and we live exhausted, buried under bills, smiling for the world while crumbling in private. But hear me, you can break that cycle. You can be the first in your family to manage wealth with wisdom. You can be the one to shift the pattern. You can honor God with your finances and bless generations to come. That means a budget. Yes, a real one, not vibes and guesses. Not I think I'm okay. No, every dollar needs an assignment. Every purchase needs a reason. You can't keep living by reaction. You need a plan. It means delayed gratification. You can't keep saying yes to every desire and then wonder why you have nothing left. Your future deserves better than your present indulgence. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is wait. Wait to buy, wait to borrow, wait to spend, because when you wait, you see clearer. It means saving consistently, not just when you feel scared, not just when a pandemic hits, always, because life will happen. Cars break, jobs shift, emergencies arise. A savings account isn't just financial wisdom. It's emotional stability. It means giving, sacrificially and joyfully. You don't give because you're rich. You give because you're grateful. Generosity doesn't begin when you have plenty. It begins when you learn to release what you do have in faith. Giving reminds you that money is not your God. It's your servant. It means learning. Yes, learning. You can't grow financially and stay mentally stagnant. Read the books, watch the videos, ask questions, talk to wise people. Don't let pride keep you poor. You don't have to know it all, but you do need to grow in knowledge. Wisdom is wealth. Now hear me, discipline doesn't mean deprivation. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Positioned to say yes to greater things. Positioned to fund your vision. Positioned to walk in purpose without being enslaved to debt. Positioned to help others. Positioned to breathe again. You don't have to chase money. You need to train your habits. Once your habits are in order, money will serve your purpose, not dictate your stress. You can stop reacting and start directing. You can stop surviving and start building. You can stop faking and start thriving. So start today. Sit down with your money and face it. Look at every number. No shame, no fear, just truth, because truth sets you free. Get clear on what's coming in and what's going out. Cut what's unnecessary. Set goals, build margin, and stay consistent. No, it won't be perfect. Yes, some months will be tighter than others, but discipline doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. Keep showing up. Keep choosing wisdom. Keep choosing purpose over pride. Your future is too expensive to waste on impulse. Your calling is too valuable to sell for stuff that loses value in a year. You were not created to live in financial chaos. You were created to be a lender, not a borrower. You were created to walk in overflow, not just for yourself, but for others. You were created to be a blessing. Before you ever win in life, you have to win in your head. Before you ever step into victory in the physical realm, you must secure it in the spiritual realm. And that battle starts in your mind. If the enemy can defeat you in your thoughts, he doesn't have to touch your finances, your health, or your relationships. All he needs is access to your thoughts, because whoever controls your mind controls your life. It doesn't matter how gifted you are. It doesn't matter how anointed, how educated, or how connected you are. If your mind is full of fear, doubt, shame, and confusion, your life will reflect that. You will sabotage blessings before they arrive. You'll quit before you try. You'll shrink back when you are called to rise, not because the opportunity wasn't there, but because your mind was not prepared to receive it. That's not a suggestion, it's a command. It's a survival strategy, because in this life you will be bombarded with lies, lies from culture, lies from trauma, lies from people who didn't see your value, lies that say you're not enough, you're too broken, you're too late, you're too much. And if you're not careful, you'll start repeating those lies to yourself. You'll turn the voice of a hater into your own internal dialogue. That's why your mind needs to be guarded like a fortress. You don't let just anything in. You don't entertain every thought. You don't rehearse every fear. You don't marinate in every doubt. You filter it. You test it. You ask yourself, where did this thought come from? Does it line up with truth? Does it serve my purpose or sabotage it? You don't have time to babysit thoughts that are trying to bury you. You don't have the energy to give anxiety a room in your house. You don't owe fear an explanation. This is your life, your purpose. Your future, and the battleground is in your head. If your mind is cluttered, your life will be too. If your thoughts are toxic, your relationships will feel it. If your mental space is filled with self-hate, your confidence will collapse under pressure. So many people are fighting the wrong battles. They're trying to change jobs, change friends, change zip codes, but never changing what they allow to live in their head. You have to get to the root, because the fruit of your life is born from the soil of your thoughts. And you cannot produce joy from a mind full of bitterness. You cannot walk in peace with a brain flooded by chaos. You cannot hear God clearly if your thoughts are drowning in noise. Take time to clean your mental house. Sweep out the shame, throw away the thoughts that have expired, detox the words spoken over you that still ring in your memory. Some of you are still living under the label someone else put on you in childhood. Still believing you're not enough because someone said so. Still limiting yourself because you were raised around limitation. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. Just because it feels real doesn't mean it's rooted in reality. You've got to interrogate those thoughts. Challenge them. Replace them with truth. And where do you find truth? Not on social media, not in shallow opinions. You find it in the presence of God. You find it in Scripture. You find it in stillness and wisdom. You find it when you get away from the noise and remember who you are. This is why daily renewal is essential. You don't win the battle of the mind once, you win it daily. You take authority every morning. You check in with your thoughts. You don't leave the door wide open for anything to walk in. You set boundaries, you cultivate peace, you nourish your mind with what gives life. Stop scrolling through anxiety, stop feeding your mind with drama, gossip, and fear. Stop watching things that poison your hope. Stop replaying scenarios that drain your faith. If you want peace, you have to protect it. Peace isn't found, it's built, thought by thought, brick by brick. Boundaries create the walls, truth lays the foundation, and grace holds it all together, and not just from negativity, but from pride, ego, and comparison. It's not always darkness that distracts us. Sometimes it's delusions, thinking more of ourselves than we should, measuring our worth by other people's highlights, running after validation while ignoring true purpose. And it needs God, because nothing renews the mind like the Word. Nothing calms the storm like his voice. Nothing heals the fractured thoughts like his presence. And nothing can expose lies like the light of his truth. So I challenge you today, audit your thoughts, write them down, look at them honestly. Are they serving you or stopping you? Are they from faith or fear? Are they bringing life or draining it? Are they keeping you small or calling you higher? You don't have to live stuck. You don't have to keep spiraling. You don't have to let anxiety write your story. You don't have to let depression define your name. You don't have to stay in mental chains. There is freedom, there is healing. Victory doesn't start when the crowd cheers. It doesn't begin when the door opens or when the applause begins. It doesn't start when people recognize your gift or when your name lights up a stage. Before you conquer anything out there, you must conquer what's going on in here. You cannot lead a successful life outwardly while remaining broken inwardly. You can't rise in the world while sinking in your soul. Because if your inner world is chaotic, no amount of outer achievement will bring peace. And if your soul is unhealed, every blessing will feel like a burden. We live in a world obsessed with results. We're trained to chase status, money, validation, attention, platforms, and influence. But what does it profit a person to gain the whole world and lose their peace? What does it matter to impress the public while you're silently tormented in private? Let me tell you something. Character matters, mindset matters, self-discipline matters, emotional health matters, spiritual clarity matters, because if you don't master what's inside of you, you'll be enslaved by everything around you. That's why the greatest victories are not visible. They're not posted on Instagram. They're not on your resume. They're not loud. They're not flashy. Like when you choose peace over panic, when you shut your mouth instead of lashing out, when you walk away from an opportunity that doesn't align with your values, when you forgive someone who never apologized, when you pray instead of retaliate, when you get up again after failing, because you know your purpose isn't cancelled. Let me be real with you. Your greatest enemy is not out there. It's not your critics. It's not your circumstances. It's not even the people who hurt you. Your greatest enemy is undisciplined thoughts, unhealed trauma, unchecked emotions, and unspoken lies that you've come to believe about yourself. But here's the good news. You have the power to change that. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not too far gone, but you must be willing to do the work, the inner work. The hard, quiet, sacred work of healing, forgiving, letting go, unlearning, praying, growing, and shifting your identity from fear to faith. It makes you fragile. One offense breaks you. One setback unravels you. One delay causes despair. But when you've done the inner work, you become resilient, not perfect, but rooted, grounded, focused, unshaken. You're not ruled by the highs or the lows. You don't crumble when you're criticized or cocky when you're praised. You've mastered the most important battlefield, yourself. Self-mastery is not about control over others. It's not manipulation. It's not performance. It's alignment. It's you living in harmony with your soul, your creator, your values, and your vision. It's peace in the storm, it's clarity in the chaos, it's wisdom in the heat of conflict, it's knowing who you are and who you're not, and walking in that truth with confidence and humility. Too many people want the crown but won't carry the cross of development. They want the platform but not the process. They want visibility but not responsibility. They want the spotlight without the sacrifice. That means waking up early to pray. That means staying disciplined when no one is watching. That means saying no to temptations that look good but aren't God. That means being obedient in the small, mundane, and unseen areas of life. Because how you do the quiet things determines whether you're ready for loud success. Stop asking for elevation if you won't submit to preparation. Stop praying for breakthrough when you won't break habits. Stop demanding promotion if you're still making excuses. Victory is not magic, it's the result of a mastered life. You're not going to get it all right every time. You're going to fall. You're going to feel like giving up. but don't you dare quit, because every time you rise again, every time you choose growth, every time you push past comfort and lean into purpose, you're winning. Not out there, but in here, and that victory can't be stolen. It's eternal, it's foundational, it becomes the force that fuels everything else. You don't rush anymore. You trust divine timing. You don't prove anymore. You know who you are. You don't beg anymore. You walk in worthiness. You don't compete anymore. You stay in your lane. You don't crumble anymore. You stand on what you've built within. Let me ask you, are you at peace with yourself? Are your habits aligned with your hopes? Is your character capable of carrying the weight of your calling? Is your inner world strong enough to handle outer success? And that private, hidden, authentic, quiet version of you, is the one who determines whether this is just a moment or a movement, whether you build a life that lasts or crumble under the pressure of what you pretended to be.